You know, it's not often that people talk about the fact that hunters have free wall hacks just built into the game, straight out of Bungie's little butt cheeks, but they are right here, called the Foe Tracer. Now this helmet is actually really strong. It says visually marks targets, deals more damage to low health marked targets, and provides a small benefit to the airborne effectiveness stat of all weapons. I believe that's a plus 15 to your AE stat, which is pretty solid. The best part of this, of course, is that it marks your targets. That puts a little red X over them so you can see them behind walls. That makes it very, very good for a map like this, where with today's build, we're going to be using a long range with our Polaris Lance. You'll see in the gameplay how we can watch our enemies through the wall, and right when they come back around the corner to take a peek, we can see them coming around the wall and just blast them in the face. Why do you think it's so good when there are so many hackers in this game? It's because they have walls and they see you walking around them, so they can blast you before you even know what's going to hit you. So that's what's so good about that exotic, because it's built into the game. Now this part right here, which says deals more damage to low health marked targets, this is never really going to do anything in PvP, because by the time that this starts proccing on your targets, they're already going to die to your next bullet, even if it's like a sidearm bullet, you know, to the belly button. So don't worry about that part of this exotic, but everything else, very good. Now, like I said, we're going to be using the Polaris Lance. We are on Rusted Lands right now for our Trials map. So everyone's using range, right? And honestly, it's kind of fun. I like it quite a bit this weekend, and Polaris Lance is nothing to sleep on. This is an exotic 150 rounds per minute scout rifle. This thing is very solid. What you can do is take a few shots. It says precision hits return ammo straight to the mag. So you hit someone in the head, you're not even going to have to reload. It's going to go right back to your mag. After you land 4 precision shots, your next shot is going to shoot out an explosive round that blows up. It scorches your targets. It's absolutely amazing for burning your targets down. You can even shoot it like on the ground if your enemy is around a corner, and it will blow up and still put that scorch on them, and you can push. Anything that does tick damage like that is going to delay your enemies from being able to actually get their recovery to start healing them, so it's very good to keep them from actually getting full health. This thing does have Zen Moment on it, which of course is buffed recently, and it feels extremely solid. For our close range engagements, we're going to be using the Multi-Mach CCX submachine gun. I love this thing. This is one of my go-to submachine guns. You can see I got about 700 kills on this thing because I've been using it for a long time, but I haven't used it for a while. This thing can outpace the Immortal sometimes if the enemy is not very good, and chances are if they're spamming the Immortal, well, then they're probably crushing harder than little Timmy is in the Christmas Story, so they're probably not going to hit most of their shots. So if you just smack them in the head with about 90% accuracy with this multi-mach, you will win the trades with those Immortals most of the time, and I'll have some clips in there that I'll show you in the gameplay today where I do just that. You can go ahead and check out the mods here, just a lot of regular targeting stuff. We have heavy-handed here, and firepower, so if we get a kill with our nade, or with our empowered melee, we do spawn a orb of power. We have absolution, Orbs of Restoration, and Innervation here to get some ability energy back from our Orbs of Power. When we pick them up, you can pause if you want to read those. And then down here we have a Bomber mod, so when we use our dodge, we get some grenade energy back. And when we use our dodge, the next time we get a kill with our Reaper mod here, we're going to spawn an Orb of Power. So that's the 3 ways we can spawn Orbs of Power, is Reaper, Firepower, and Heavy-Handed. For our Arc 3.0, we're going to be using Gathering Storm, Gambler's Dodge, so we can dodge near somebody and get our empowered melee right back up. Blink, because I'm not some little grasshopper jumpy boy, I like using Blink, but you can use Jump if you want. Over here we have Combination Blow, so that's going to heal us when we actually get a kill with our melee. Then we have lightning nades. Lightning nades are extremely strong on this map. There's so many places that people set up right next to a wall. I will show you some really good lightning nade plays in the gameplay today. Definitely recommend you use this nade this weekend. We have flow state here, so if we kill somebody that is jolted, we get amplified. We have Tempest Strike here, which is going to let us shoot out a thing of lightning, which is going to chase down our enemies, do a lot of damage. It's going to jolt them. We can take them out very easily after that, get ourselves amplified. For our fragments to finish off our build here, we have Spark of Haste. This is going to give us plus 30 to our resilience, recovery, and mobility when you sprint for a couple of seconds. A very solid things. You can see here I have 60 mobile, but with this equipped, I actually have 90 mobile. Right here we have Spark of Ions. This is defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace. And then we have Spark of Recharge. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade energy regenerates more quickly. That's just a nice way that we can get our abilities back really quickly. Finishing that off, I have Spark of Shock. So when we do hit people with that lightning nade right there, it is going to jolt them so we can take them out and get ourselves amplified. So pretty straightforward build right here. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comment section or join the Blinkville Discord server. I'm going to have that linked in the top right and in the description. I'd love to see you in there. All that being said, I think we're about ready to get into this video, but I do want to say before we do, if you do want to leave me a like or subscribe at any point, that stuff really helps. It tells the algorithm you are enjoying and they can show it to more people so they can enjoy the video as well and see the build and have some fun with it. All that being said, I think we're ready to get into this gameplay, so why don't we go ahead and blink on into it. Now, as you can see here, this is my first round of the day, and I was feeling pretty good. I got my Warlock plays earlier in the day, so I went on the Hunter, and I was like, okay, you know, I love Polaris Lance, and you can see right here why it's so solid. We immediately 3-tap both those guys. We even got our perfect 5th proc, so we smack that guy real easy, and you love to see that stuff. You also got to remember, every single precision hit I hit there, put the shot right back into my mag. So it's just feeling so good with these Polaris Lance. It is one of my go-to scout rifles. Anytime there's like an Eternity weekend, I pull this out, right? Because I kind of even like it better than Jade Rabbit. It's such a solid gun, and I think it gets overlooked so much of the time. Now, especially combined with something like wall hacks from our foe tracers, you gotta love it. Speaking of foe tracers, let's start looking at it a little more in depth. Look at this guy right now. I know exactly where he is because I literally have wall hacks on him. I track him, I blink above him, land on this pillar, start spraying, my teammate finishes down, easy. That's what's so good about foe tracer. You can track your enemies literally through walls. Bungie spends all day spending millions of dollars suing these hack making companies when they also literally just made a helmet that put them into the game for free. Yeah, not really making sense on that one, a little ass backwards, but you know what? When something like that's in the game, I'm going to go ahead and use it when it's so slept on so I can kind of get some eyes on it. And that's the thing I've never understood, is it is incredibly slept on. Nobody talks about this exotic. Now, there's a few reasons for that, the biggest one obviously being people love their crutches in Destiny 2. The player base has to crutch, right? That's why everyone's still spamming Immortal. Ooh, we love to see that. That's why everyone's still on Arctitan all day. Awesome, so much fun. But one of the biggest crutches that's been there for a long time is stompies. Everyone loves their stompies. And if you take that off, then you're just going to worm crutch, aren't you? You know when an exotic literally has crutch built into its community like nickname, it's probably crutched a little bit too much. So people just forget about things like foe tracer, which is just hilarious to me because it's literal free wall hacks. All you need to do is stare at your enemy for about half a second, and they're gonna get that little red X over them. Every time they walk behind a wall, you can just watch them until they come right back out, and then you can start pre-firing right when they're gonna peek, and then you're gonna smack them. Now you can see these guys in front of me here. I went into SMG range a little bit. What I wanted to do was see if I could fry somebody with this multi-mock, so I kind of slid in because I saw on my radar somebody was on the top right. Smack him real good right there. I want to talk about this multi-mock for a second and a little bit more about something like Immortal and SMGs in the current meta right now because they're so funky and hilarious how power-crept SMGs have gotten. You know, first of all, we had Terrabomb, right? And they were like, ooh, we're going to nerf it. They didn't. It's still overpowered in case you're wondering. It just got power-crept so much that people stopped using it right now. Then they introduced Immortal. Wow. Do you guys remember the first 2 weeks? Or was it just the first literal week of trials and how it was actually fun? And then they were like, hey, here, broken gun, enjoy suffering. And then everything just turned into fire and brimstone. You know, and that's just trials now. And it's been trials of Immortal every single week since then. And then they somehow power crept that gun even more with the title SMG from Guardian Games this year. Now, I will say, Immortal I think is still better than the title, but the fact that title can put up a fight is scary, considering how strong Immortal is. So, Jesus, you kind of forget something like the Multimach, which is an extremely solid and honestly a very good gun to look at when you're looking at how they should balance SMGs. Now, let's keep in mind, it took a long time for the Multimach to actually be balanced. This gun was the OP SMG for a long time. People have used this for a while. I mean, it used to have so much range because it had iron reach. It also had a lot of extra zoom, which is something that makes guns easily very powerful. That's what makes the title so strong. It has rangefinder, it has a pretty good range stat with something like ricochet rounds or small bore, and then on top of that, it has an extra zoom, more than the Immortal. When you start mixing in stuff like that, one zoom in this game is huge. So that's kind of where we get a lot of this SMG power creep, and I just hope that it gets shut down soon, because while I do love SMGs, they're some of my favorite ways to play in the game, they're not in a healthy spot right now, and they really need to be toned down just a little bit so we can all start enjoying the game a little bit more. Now, that being said, let's go look into this gameplay a little more. Hopefully you guys are kind of looking at what I'm doing with this foe tracer. It's pretty straightforward. A lot of times I like to go towards water barrel, water tank, whatever you want to call it, or truck. Like right here, I'm on the back of truck, I'm looking towards water tank, and I'm waiting for people to hop up. Basically what you're trying to do is just get your marked target on somebody, take out a quick pick if you can, watch that res, get your target on somebody, and then you can pre-fire them when they start coming around the corner to peek at you, because chances are your enemies are going to be sniping or using scouts. Like, that's what this weekend is. If you don't like that, I would say don't play this weekend, because it's what you're going to see. You know, I personally really like those kinds of guns, so I'm fine with it, but if that's not something you're a fan of, then you might want to take a break this weekend, because that is what this weekend is, and I've had quite a bit of fun with it. Now in this clip you can see me flick up to the left. I hit some pretty good shots on him once I did flick up. I heard him go invis, so that's how I knew. Make sure you are paying attention to your sound cues. And people don't really talk about sound cues too much in this game because it's not like CSGO or something, you know, where you have to be like listening to footsteps, you know, Valorant, where these kids are like, I have my Turtle Beach just cranked up to a maximum of 1000 plus amps so I can hear it in my ears, and then they're walking around the corner. Yeah, they're coming down mid right now. You don't do that in Destiny 2. You know, the most you're going to hear is like, oop, he went invis, or maybe you're going to hear somebody do like a little bit of a scream. You know, there is actually a audio cue when somebody gets down to critical health, so you can hear that through a wall or something, and then know that you can aggress upon them if you don't have teammates that are actually making calls to you. So keep that stuff in mind. Oh, this clip is hilarious. I had to show you guys. This is literally a certified fucking Bungie bot. There is no way Bungie didn't take a few zygotes, put them in a test tube, and made that player right there. And there's no way they even cooked him for the full 9 months. I think they literally shoved him in that testy tube and they cooked him for about 6 months or something, because my friends, he did not come out fully formed. He might have had a brainstem, but on top of that, there was nothing else. You know, basically he was the stem of a flower, and that bitch did not have any petals on there. Now, coming into this round, I gotta say shout out to the teammates I had in this game, because they were really cool guys. We were up against a bunch of abusing Arc Titans spamming Wither Horde, as you're gonna see in the rest of this clip right here, and it was just so cringy. But I had some really cool teammates, and we were talking in team chat, and that's why I want to say shout out to them, because they were really cool. And you'll see here, you know, we were fucking around in team chat, and I was like, freaking Wither Horde, absolutely fun, balanced, fair, and we were just cracking up. And we actually did end up winning the match because we were synergizing and we were talking and we were actually being, you know, well, we were being negative, kind of roasting the enemies, but you see right there, we're laughing as well too. We're just kind of screwing around in team chat, but we're all good players. And when you're in that good mood and you know your teammates are there to win and that they're trying to, then you're going to be much more likely to win. So, you know, try to be positive in team chat. I roast people in team chat sometimes where they're just like, you know, that bot that I showed you earlier, the one that got cooked up in that zygote test tube. Yeah, I went in team chat and I was like, are you a bot? Because I literally had to ask him. I was like, there's no way you're fucking real right now. Like, are you Hannah Montana living a double life? Because there's no way that you are actually the person you're saying you are right now. There's just no possible way that there was a human behind that screen. I think that guy woke up this morning and forgot how to use his fingers, and he was stuck in the tutorial of something. I don't know. I think he's still stuck in the tutorial of life. Now, I gotta say, the adverse of those teammates that I really liked is the teammates that I have in my match right now, because these guys were absolute toxic Timmies. They suck nut. You know, they're abusing Arc Titan, both of them. And then on top of abusing Arc Titan, what else are they doing? They're just toxic for no reason. Every single round, they would just go and emote on the enemies for no reason. And look what our enemies are using. They're literally on like Behemoth in Golden Gun, you know, and they weren't even that good. They were just decent players. And yet these teammates that I had for some reason were just completely toxic. And I faced them. You're going to see in the next few clips, I'm facing them after this. And of course I get worthless teammates. The only time I beat these kids who are abusing Arc Titan was when I went ahead and 1v3'd, which I did for a couple of rounds, but doing that every round is kind of impossible sometimes. Now, here's the thing. I just don't get these players that are just willfully toxic every single round. Like, what do you think that gets you? I do want to say though, remember we were talking about some good lightning nade positions? This one right here is a beautiful one. You can see these fucking morons walk around the corner, right into my lightning nade, they get their shit cooked like a turkey on Thanksgiving, and then I smack them up with some nice shots, they get ruined because of Jolt, and then right here what I do, why did I dodge behind that wall? Well, it's pretty simple. What I wanted to do was use my dodge around that enemy. Even if the enemy is on the other side of a wall, if you use your dodge near that enemy, it will actually give you your empowered melee back. So that's why I used it. Now, this kid was hiding like he was inside the side of a fucking Berlin bomb shelter, but that was okay. I went around the corner, punched him in the nut, finished him off. That was my first 1v3. This second round right here is the second time that I 1v3 these guys and was able to win, but like I said, my teammates feel like they just walked out of the prehistoric era, and they kind of have T-Rex blood in their brains, so they weren't very good at helping me actually win these rounds. But, you know, it's okay. What are you gonna do? At least I got some fun 1v3s so that you guys can watch them and have some enjoyment out of them. Be careful of this area of the map. There is actually a blink right here. If you don't know what that is, essentially you can blink into invisible roofs and not get any vertical height on your blink, so be careful of those. Now, bringing blink into the conversation, we blink behind that guy and we smack him real good. Foe Tracer is also my favorite blink exotic for a very simple reason. It can show you where the enemies are marked as you go through your blink, so you can actually track them really easily. Now right here, beautiful use of my perfect fifth. I saw that enemy placed a rift around the corner, so what do? Well, I have my perfect fifth shot up, so I shoot it at the ground, it blows up, and he starts getting scorched. That means he's taking damage, and while he's taking damage, I can use that damage to track him through the walls as well as with my Foe Tracer to get up on top of him and finish him off before he can fully heal. Slide in on this guy with my multi-mock. It has pretty darn good range. We gotta remember I do have Iron Reach on it as well, and finish him off for a nice round win right there. Now you can see again, looking towards Water Tower, 1, 2, 3, tap that guy down. There's our first pick. What do we want to do now? Well, we have one of two choices. We can sit back with our player slam lands and try to hold that res, or we can go forward with our multi-mach and try to hold that res a little closer range. I chose the latter option, which worked out for me because I was able to double punch that guy, but I should have been more careful and check my radar a little more before I went in there, but luckily it did work out. Now, be careful with heavy rounds. You do need to be able to actually watch the heavy. You can go under right here into this little stop and wet piece of puddle. If you want to watch your enemies, you can let your teammates easily get the power ammo if they do have Titan Shields. Obviously, Titan Shields, the most overpowered ability in the entire game, because, I mean, hey, look, it's just, here's wall now, and now we have heavy ammo. Fun. But these teammates, they did good. You know, they got the power ammo. I was seeing they were going to the right side. You see that I'm pretty tunnel visioned here, and that's actually can be a mistake a lot of the time. The reason it wasn't a mistake is because we were 3 rounds in. I knew how the enemy played by now, and I knew they weren't going to flank on my left. I still should have checked my radar every now and again, but I was watching how they played by this point, so I knew they weren't going to flank me. That being said, 3-tap that guy, blink up into the window really quickly because I saw my teammates were fighting on the inside. Take them out with some nice multi-mach shots, and we team shot them really well. Oh, I had to show you this, guys. He's using Immortal Adept God Roll, thinking he's something good when he beat me in a 1v1 with that, when I have multi-mach. And I was like, you know what? That's cute. I'm going to teach you a fucking lesson. I'm going to come over there, take my monster cock, and slap you in the face. So that's exactly what I did. I was dead set bloodthirsty on killing this little bitch and showing him how life is going to smack him down. So that's what I did. I went up top here and said, oh, nice immortal. Hey, welcome to hell, pussy. Now I started using my salt emote, started seasoning him up, you know, a little salt bait, throw that on there, bagged his ass, had my nutsack so far down his throat that he could have pulled it out of his butthole. So there you go, Brusty, Bursty, whatever the fuck your name is. You're a little bitch. You learned your lesson. You learned your place. It's down in the dirt. Next time you come around, I can probably bring a coffin if you want me to shove you even farther under the fucking dirt. But that's up to you, buddy. Now that being said, the beginning of this game was a pretty risky peak. Make sure you're watching what your enemies actually have in terms of their loadouts when you're loading into the game. I saw these guys had 3 snipers, so I was like, I can challenge these guys. I decided to, and it worked out really well for me there, as well as it did for the rest of the match. Here's a good showing of the foe tracers. Or actually, no, I did not get this guy marked, but he did come around the corner. I almost killed him there. I shot in the perfect fifth in case it was able to blow up and take him out, but unfortunately it was not the case. My teammates were on the side, and this guy actually loaded power ammo, so what I did was try to blink around this guy and get close to him. If you see they load grenade launcher, you can actually get pretty close to them, because they might blow themselves up like they did right there. My teammate reses me, and then we go on this last guy, and this actually is a good showing of foe tracers, because since I had this guy foe tracer tracked, I was able to look at my walls, you know, I see him through the wall, and I immediately just track onto his head with my Polaris, and he's finished. Now we are coming to our last 2 clips here, so I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you do want to leave me a like or subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. If you want to go watch my Guardian Games loadout on my Warlock, go ahead and watch that video from yesterday. I think you'd very much enjoy it if you did enjoy this one. Now, all that being said, that is going to be it for me today, so I'll let this play out, and I'll have one more play for you guys if you'd like to stick around and enjoy that as well. But that is it for me today, so as always, have a great day, Guardians.